James Lackington, The Journey of a Revolutionary Bookseller. The art of purchasing an item for 50 cents and vending it for 75 might appear straightforward in theory. Yet, seasoned professionals understand that thriving in commerce necessitates a unique acumen, an inherent talent that is as rare as any other exceptional gift that propels individuals to prominence. Today, we delve into the extraordinary life of James Lackington, a man who, defying impoverished beginnings, rose to transform the bookselling industry. From a cobbler's son with virtually no formal education to a bookseller reputed to have sold over 100,000 volumes annually, Lackington's story is a testament to innovation, perseverance, and the impact of accessible literature. In this comprehensive analysis, we will explore the intricacies of Lackington's journey, his innate genius for trade, and how his revolutionary practices reshaped the dissemination of knowledge in the late 18th century. Early life and first ventures in trade. Born in 1746 in Wellington, Somerset, James Lackington was the eldest son of a destitute shoemaker known for his intemperance. His early environment was one of extreme poverty and instability. With a mere 6 weeks of formal education at a dame school, costing 2 pence per week, his literacy journey began but was soon curtailed. As a young man in the 18th century, Lackington exhibited entrepreneurial tendencies. Observing an elderly pie man whose inefficiency left room for competition, Lackington seized the opportunity. He approached a local baker with a proposition to sell pies on commission. Demonstrating remarkable salesmanship, he aggressively marketed the pies, ultimately driving the original pie man out of business within weeks. Expanding his enterprise, he ventured into selling almanacs during the winter months, a strategic move that underscored his adaptability and keen market sense. Apprenticeship and self-education. At 14, Lackington was apprenticed to George Bowden, a local shoemaker. The apprenticeship marked a pivotal turn, introducing him to trade skills while igniting a profound desire for self-improvement. Despite his limited literacy, he was determined to educate himself. His quest for knowledge led him to acquire seminal works of Stoic and Epicurean philosophy. Beginning with a translation of Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who championed personal freedom through self-discipline, Lackington immersed himself in texts by Plato, Plutarch, and Epicurus. The latter's teachings on simple living resonated deeply, inspiring Lackington to adopt frugal habits, such as subsisting on bread and tea, to allocate more resources towards purchasing books. This period also saw him engage with Methodist teachings, attending sermons regularly. The synthesis of philosophical introspection and religious doctrine enriched his worldview, laying the foundation for his ethical approach to business and life. Marriage and struggles. In 1767, after a prolonged courtship spanning 7 years, Lackington married Nancy, a dairymaid. Their union was emblematic of modest aspirations and shared resilience. Upon arriving at their lodgings post-wedding, they assessed their joint finances, discovering they possessed merely a halfpenny. Undeterred, they embarked on their married life by collaboratively engaging in shoemaking, often buoyed by singing verses that extolled simplicity and contentment. The reality of their circumstances, however, was harsh. Earning approximately 2 shillings per week, a sum insufficient by any standard, they faced the spectre of starvation. The economic conditions of the time, exacerbated by Britain's involvement in foreign conflicts and the ensuing strain on domestic resources, further challenged their subsistence. After 3 arduous years, recognizing the futility of persisting in their current situation, Lackington made the decisive move to seek opportunities in London, a metropolis that beckoned with the promise of economic mobility. The move to London. In August 1774, with 2 shillings and 6pence in his pocket, Lackington arrived in London. The city, then the epicenter of the British Empire, was a hub of commerce, culture, and intellectual fervor. He promptly secured employment as a journeyman shoemaker, benefiting from the higher wages available in the capital. Shortly thereafter, Nancy joined him, and their combined earnings markedly improved their standard of living. A modest legacy of £10 from his grandfather enabled them to acquire essential furniture and provided a semblance of stability. Yet, Lackington's voracious appetite for books remained unabated. Famously, on one Christmas Eve, he allocated funds intended for their holiday meal to purchase a copy of Edward Young's Night Thoughts. While Nancy was understandably dismayed by the absence of a traditional feast, Lackington rationalized the expenditure, emphasizing the enduring intellectual nourishment provided by the book, a reflection of his prioritization of knowledge over immediate gratification. Entering the bookselling trade. Recognizing an opportunity to merge his vocation with his avocation, Lackington began selling second-hand books alongside shoes in their rented premises on Featherstone Street. Starting with an inventory of approximately 50 volumes, primarily theological works, he invested all available funds into expanding this nascent venture. Within 6 months, his collection quintupled, evidencing a strong market demand and his adeptness at sourcing desirable titles. This success prompted a strategic pivot. He relinquished shoemaking to focus exclusively on bookselling. His shop became a haven for the literati and the intellectually curious, offering a diverse range of works. He maintained a principled stance, opting not to sell material he deemed detrimental to readers, a decision underscored by his ethical framework influenced by both Methodist and philosophical teachings. Innovating the bookselling industry. Lackington's most significant contribution to the industry was his overhaul of prevailing bookselling practices. Contrary to the norms of offering credit, a system fraught with defaults and inefficiencies, he implemented a strict cash-only policy. This approach mitigated financial risks and streamlined operations. Perhaps more revolutionary was his adoption of minimal profit margins. By reducing prices, he democratized access to literature, effectively broadening his customer base. This volume-based strategy capitalized on economies of scale, predating modern retail concepts. His acumen extended to procurement. He was known to make bold purchases, such as acquiring entire print runs or spending upwards of £20,000 in a single afternoon, a staggering sum equivalent to over £2 million today when adjusted for inflation. Overcoming skepticism and achieving success. Lackington's unconventional methods were met with skepticism. Critics predicted his financial ruin, citing adages like, "Set a beggar on horseback, and he'll ride to the devil." His investment in personal comforts, such as owning a horse and later a chariot adorned with his guiding maxim, was seen as ostentatious and imprudent. Contrary to these prognostications, his business flourished. The Temple of the Muses, as his flagship store was known, became one of the largest bookstores in London, if not Europe. Contemporary accounts suggest that he sold nearly 100,000 volumes annually, a testament to his successful model. Demonstrating magnanimity, Lackington revisited his hometowns, providing financial assistance to former employers and impoverished relatives. His actions reflected a commitment to social responsibility and a recognition of his journey from poverty to affluence. Personal philosophy and legacy. Lackington's life was underpinned by a confluence of philosophies. His embrace of Stoicism and Epicureanism advocated for self-control and the pursuit of intellectual pleasures, respectively. Concurrently, his re-engagement with Methodism in later years signaled a return to the moral and spiritual teachings that influenced his early development. By minimizing barriers to book ownership, Lackington played a crucial role in elevating literacy and education among the emerging middle class. His methodologies presaged modern retail principles, such as fixed pricing and inventory turnover strategies. His memoirs, Memoirs of the First 45 Years of the Life of James Lackington, provided valuable insights into the book trade and social conditions of the era. Scholars acknowledge his contributions as instrumental in shaping the publishing and retail landscapes of the time. James Lackington's ascent from impoverished beginnings to becoming a titan of the book industry epitomizes the transformative power of ingenuity and determination. His strategies not only propelled his own success but also democratized knowledge, fostering an informed society. His legacy persists in the fundamental retail concepts that underpin modern bookselling and in the recognition that access to literature is a pivotal component of cultural and intellectual advancement. Through a meticulous examination of his life and methods, we gain valuable perspectives on the intersections of commerce, ethics, and the proliferation of ideas.